Lopez, who's the owner of La Barrios in Costa Rica, and I've talked about it a lot today, is one of the most, if not the most famous eco-lodges in the Americas, one of the most famous in the world. It's been making money since the day it opened. And for the most part, I would guess its average occupancy per year is in the 80 to 85%. That's phenomenal for hotel business, unless you're a love hotel, you know, or you got them in by the hour. I think at their average net income per year was close to $1 million. They invested probably about $3 million in their project, and they have almost 20 years of being at that occupancy rate with that fame. They decided to sell it. They were looking for an exit strategy. They wanted to get out. They're tired. They've had other issues. They want to sell this incredible project. They put it up for sale initially for $8 million. They have had not one offer in the last 8 years. Why? Because you either have investors who have a banking mentality and they go, okay, you got this, and you got this, and you got this, and how much can it generate? If I have to borrow $8 million to buy this, I have to generate X amount plus this, plus that, and you're not making enough for me to do that unless I tear it all down and build a huge 100-room hotel, which the owners won't allow. Or the other option they have is to say, it's a great piece of real estate. We've got hundreds of hectares of beautiful forest land, a road, water, electricity, internet. Then the real estate business guy comes along and goes, okay, land is $6 per square meter in this area, and with the buildings on it that are small buildings, they're only good for this or that, so it's worth $3.5 million to us. And they're stuck. What about all my time? What about all my energy? Meaningless. Meaningless in the world of business. What they're looking for, and it does happen, is that one dreamer, ex-Silicon Valley guy, a woman who spent her whole life in an industry as a CEO and is tired and just wants to enjoy her grandchildren and have something to do. That person who is willing to say, that to me is my dream, and I will do this because I'll make enough money back. I have $8 million, and I'll make enough back to keep me happy for the rest of my life and leave something in my life. But so far, not one person has said that. And this is one of the biggest issues, and we talked about this, that we have to talk about with ecotourism conferences, is exit strategies for the eco hotel owner. How do I get out if I've invested my whole life and my whole savings into this and I can't even get half of what I put in? So when you get to this point, you're going to have to start thinking about who am I going to appeal to and on what level. So because we don't have a whole lot of time, I'm just going to conclude, because we're probably close right now to that, right? Okay, so what I'm going to say to you is, and it's great that we have this little group because I can, otherwise I'd have to do this whole. If you're building anything, whether it be public, private, whatever, you need to do a business plan and there's so many out there templates that you can look at. But I was telling Kelly today, when I sold the banks on funding of our project in Manuel Antonio, we were still in construction. We had started construction, and we had already invested over $1 million in the project. And we were asking them for a lot more. That what they wanted to see was all of this stuff, which we provided them. And the banks in Costa Rica are starting now to make what's called Know Your Client, and they present you with an environmental survey. How are you doing? What will you be doing? How will you be saving water? And for them, it's good for their image as a bank, and it's good for their profile, but it's also good for you in terms of they're going to be saving a lot of money on electricity and water, especially if they do all these things. But it's becoming an intrinsic part of them doing business. But there is no way on earth, if we're talking about business plans and financing, that you're going to get money from somebody to do these projects. No matter what anybody else tells you, I guarantee you, unless you have these things listed out and can show that you're going to have cash flow and that you're capable of developing this over a long period of time to maintain the cash flow that's necessary to pay them back. So if you're speaking of a government agency like a national park and you want to build $1.5 million infrastructure, what you do, in my opinion, is without thinking, well, I'm going to go to a bank and get a mortgage, I can't do that, it's not my land. Approach it this way. Here's who's here. This is our mission, this is our vision, this is how we see ourselves. This is the feasibility. This is great because we can have this many visitors per day and they can generate this much. And we have funding from the government for this much a year, which is going to be our vested interest. And our niche is these people, and we've seen from ecotourism and sustainable tourism data that these people really pay. And we need you to finance it because we'll be able to pay that back in some form, like charging admission or whatever. And the goodwill of this project in terms of image and profile. We're doing something good for the country, etc. So, in conclusion, when we talk about business plans and feasibility, you have to think about it as added value for what you're doing and present not only for yourselves but for any kind of funding institution the idea that I'm very clear about what we need to do and how we're going to do it, and set it down as a simple and really basic layout of like a design. And from that point, whoever is in charge of helping you develop this business will come back with, we need more of this, we need less of this, and we work step by step with that. You'll see in your work, if you ever do this when you have to finance, that we're going to be confronting these same people. Bankers are a completely different race of humans, and they have a very, very fixed, and their responsibility is totally financial. So they see it as black and white, nuts and bolts situation, which are based on these things. This is really simplified, by the way. Okay, so I hope that helps somewhat.
And I think another aspect of all that, Glenn, and that niche part is finding your market and being able to reach your market. And one of the things that we did want to get into today was the whole idea of marketing and the advent of social marketing and how critical that is in getting your project out there. And the good news for ecotourism development now is you can get that message out there at a fairly low cost, and you can get your projects viral at a fairly low cost using social marketing strategies. And that's the good news, is before it had to be an expensive brochure and a lot of money into a website. Now you can do things that are virtually free, and many people have access to that haven't had access to that.
So when we were building our second hotel, one of the first things the bank asked us after that, when we came back to that, and I was telling Kelly the other night, my friend who's a professor in Impact, which is a postgraduate business school, was running about consulting his financial stuff. He's always said, when you deal with banks or institutions that have to do with financial lending, less is more. Give them the minimum, and they'll tell you what else they need after that. There's going to be some of those things. But they're going to come back to you and say, and in our case with our hotel, they said, okay, we've got your vision, you've got a feasibility study from an expert who says this is going to be really great, it's right on the beach, this is how many people come and visit, this is what we expect. We got that. We already knew that, but it's sealed with a stamp right. And they said, who is going to provide you with those plans? And we said, well, tourism sales, direct sales, agents, wholesalers. Okay, well, we need to see a commitment on paper from those wholesalers and travel agents who will send people there. So if you're a new business and you haven't dealt with these people before, there's no way you're going to go there and they're going to go, oh yeah, we're going to send you people. They're going to say, not until I see that thing up and running and I know who you are will I send you. So you're kind of, that's where you really need to get into other people's money who are willing to take a higher risk. if you've got a track record, then they come in and they say, okay, I've seen you've done this before with another hotel, and then the wholesalers are like, oh yeah, I've worked with, Eric on his other projects, and he did very well with us, and we believe that he's really a good back for us, so we'll be sending people then. Okay, then the bank is fine, we've got to go in. So that's another important issue, is finding your credible suppliers that will keep your business going.
Okay.
A minute or so, maybe. How about the new technology?
Yeah.
And just some of the things that have been incorporated into facilities, because I do think this is applicable to national park facilities
Sure,
or
and
just
digital center and all this process.
First, I was trying to talk about the natural disaster that's happening all over the world, and all the facility needs to be thinking about how to disaster-proof your lodges. So I just put all the floods and cyclones. And so the earthquakes are not as much as others, but floods and cyclones are very seen these days. And just showing these risk factor of the disaster by countries. So direct impacts on natural disaster are on property, infrastructure, communication, transportation, and of course human life. So these are the elements they need to really encounter if you are operating a lodge or a visitor center or any sort of facilities, tourism. If you're an eco-lodge owner, so of course design is very important, but sometimes you may not fit in your environment. You might create visual pollution. So we always tell to do site evaluation, selection, planning design, smart energy and water, and minimize human errors, kind of thing. So for the new lodges, of course, it's important to do all the site and planning design. Of course, this is just the some of the big houses near Monterey area, just looking down. I don't know if those are the places that you want to build nowadays because of the cyclone coming and things like that. It's easy to think, but usually the property prices are higher in these places. So I think to utilize the traditional way of architecture makes more sense than coming up with something brand new. It's kind of, if it's out of shape, we don't highly recommend these types in the left, although it has no, it is earthquake proof on the left one, and on the right is more of the flood proof. In Japan, as you know, we have a lot of earthquakes, so for the existing lodges, what we do is we would add some of the braces for the columns to be more stronger, so that would minimize the shake. Although the wooden houses are very flexible, we have specialists that goes and see how hard they can withstand these earthquakes. On the top right is the 400-year-old temples. What they do is they build on the rock, so the whole building can shake, yet it doesn't collapse. But the new technology is they sit on this rubber thing that the whole thing can shake, like your computer rooms in the building. It's just earthquake proof. So if you have a room and you don't see anything there, but in case you have an earthquake, of course, we would highly recommend to put support underneath and top, just in case people don't die just because the clothes fall over them or something like that. Just some more pictures in a very fragile area to build, but they could stand years. This one shows the natural element of all these trees against the wind. one on the right is sand stoppers by pine trees that they have along the lodges. Again, this is a very new zero-emission house, which is very artificial, but they come out completely carbon neutral because they utilize the natural energy and they filter the rainwater. They have a huge rainwater tank in underneath, things like that. We can talk about for days on this. And of course, with the new technology, you can rely on like a non-electric refrigerator. They have a good job doing the kind of things. They have micro hydro. One on the right is the fuel cell power plant, which is now you can sell there. These are on the market. Minimizing human errors, of course, about disaster proofing the lodge is very important, but also having the drill for sometimes, of course, for the employees, but for the guests, so that you can tell them that you are sort of preparing for the emergency. This is the water stock in the lodge. And some of the new technology I can touch base a little bit on the photocatalyst technology. I'm not going into the details, but what this technology does is with, the photosynthesis, it's a photocatalyst. It's more like it's a similar technology. What it does is they have this chemical called titanium dioxide. When it's exposed to light or ultraviolet, it just creates this decomposition function, as well as the hydrophilicity, which is friendly to water. So they put this substance on the wall or in the like the bathtub, and where you're exposed to sunlight. What it does is instead of repelling the water, the water sticks and sticks to the wall. So if you have rain, for example, it sticks and it just cleans all the dirt and stuff that is growing or on the wall. So that's a very popular substance nowadays, which is proven environmentally friendly. Many of the buildings no longer have to do the window cleaning, all that guys in the 50 floors up. So those are something that we hear coming up. They use that on tanks and in the bathroom and all the windows. Also, we have power generating floor. You know how the speakers make sound. What it does is the amplifiers get you the electricity, and that turns it into vibrate the speaker itself to loudspeakers. But if you vibrate, that creates electricity and gets you back to generate electricity. So that's the idea. So that's just a reverse of it. So in Tokyo Station, if you go there, you see all these panels that you can step on. That is creating. It's very small, like 0.1 watt per person. But if you have 1,000 people crossing by a day, it's creating 70 kilowatts of day, which illuminates the Tokyo Station. So these are the kind of cool technology that we're testing at the moment. So maybe I should have shown you how does it work. If you have a guest, you can have those small lights. Just if you walk on those panels, it just lights there. So you don't really need a battery. You just create energy right there. So those are sort of the new things that people are thinking to install. In the same way, we have a sliding door instead of pushing and pulling. So if you walk and if you stand on one mat, our body weight, slides open the door itself, which is completely non-electric. And this is widely used in our hospitals because if it's non-electric, it doesn't interfere with your heart. What do you call those pacemakers? Yeah, so those are widely used, especially in those hospitals and nursing houses. Then we have this fuel cell cogeneration system, which has been installed since 2005. The first installation took place in our prime minister's official residence. What it needs, well, I don't talk about the reaction, but what it needs is gas, kerosene, or methanol, naphtha. These things, if you have, normally they use propane gas or the natural gas that feeds into your house. Especially in the rural area, normally they have just propane gas. So they use that as a source, and it just creates the independent source of electricity. And what's good about this thing is it is, if we are cut off from the grid, you can be totally independent still, and the efficiency is just incredible. Normally the grid is 37% efficiency from the very raw material, although this very clever way of making electricity is 33%, and it also creates heat at the same time, so that can be utilized to heat your water at the same time. So now it was about 35,000 US for like a regular household, with 15,000 US dollar subsidy by the government. But now you can buy it for half the price, and some of the time the local government still subsidize almost half of it. So